Welcome back to another episode of Steaming Pile with Lauren and Tucker. I am Lauren.
And I'm Tucker.
And I've been thinking a lot about the concept of motivation and how it works. Because I'm starting to walk every morning after I get up. And part of it, it's nothing has ever stuck. Anytime I've ever tried to implement some sort of thing to better my life, it has never stuck. Until, recently, where I'm tired of carrying around my body in its current form. And it has affected me in a way differently than, I couldn't deal with the, just push through, just do it because it's the right thing to do for your body. It's I know it's the right thing, but it doesn't annoy me yet. But now it's starting to annoy me. Okay, cool, I guess we'll do this. Because there are tons of books about, building your habits and building your motivations. And I'm that's great. But if it doesn't bother me, I'm not going to change anything.
Well, everyone has a different motivation threshold, I guess you could say.
Yes.
Some people really have to get a fire lit under their ass to do something. Maybe they only do something when something irreversible could result. Some people can just drum up motivation out of nowhere. And those people scare me. It's how... I suppose I'm somewhere in between, but I don't understand how people can just... I understand it's a matter of discipline, but it's almost like a catch-22. You have to have discipline to generate discipline. So how do you get the discipline to begin with? Is that related to something in your upbringing? Is that something related to I guess it's nature versus nurture all over again, but it's got to be sourced out of discipline, right?
I would think so. And yeah, it is tricky where it's you have to have discipline to have discipline, and you have to have motivation to have motivation. I think there's a band that I have lived in most of my adult life of where it's this is the band where your body will respond to the changes you make in a reasonable amount of time. It's just gonna suck. If I were any further along in my bad habits, I would reach a point where it gets to be impossible and demotivating. And there are some people who can push through that time frame, and that's great. But I know that for myself, it's if we don't get out of this zone, we will never leave this zone.
Yeah.
Going that way. It will always be going that way. And I remember being in college the first time I realized I'm oh, this is the worst I've ever felt about anything, about my self-esteem, about the way I look. And I'm this is it. This is where everyone leaves me. And no one did, so I'm oh, cool, it's no problem. And then it kept getting worse.
Yeah, I guess discipline comes from negative actions against you. Is that fair to say? Is that all encompassing even? Discipline. So maybe we can generalize it further then. Maybe discipline comes from the fear of not having, I guess, the fear of bad things happening.
Yes.
And then it becomes a sense of, well, what do you consider to be a bad thing? And that comes down to a couple of very, very core traits. I guess that's your risk tolerance. That's your morality. That comes down to a whole bunch of things.
Yeah.
So I wonder... Yeah. I mean, it can still be distilled to the subjective nature versus nurture. Everything can be distilled to that. But I feel there's a more important step above that. Like the things I just listed. There's a whole category of things that are very core that, of course, have to come from somewhere. But I feel that argument is not one worth having. Nature versus nurture at that point.
Yeah. In some ways, it's spite. It's
sure.
Spite against the self.
Okay.
Of just being mad at yourself for letting it reach a certain point. but also spite to be like, no, we can fix this. This is your fault, and we're gonna fix this. But also just just kind of a resignation too. I've gone through all of the phases, and I have thankfully, for like the first time, pushed through that. Okay, I've done this inconsistently for 8 days. Why don't I have results yet? And now that I've pushed past that, I think that's fine.
Yeah. Getting over the hump of having nothing to show for something that you've convinced yourself you've done diligently, I agree. That is a very huge hurdle to overcome, and not just in fitness, but in really anything that you're trying to accomplish that takes time and you have to set your mind to. Yeah, that's. I think that might be because you have such a weird scale of time. 8 days isn't really a lot of time.
It's not.
So of course it's not going to have to stick. But in the moment, it feels like you've done it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's where motivation videos and motivation content can actually be counterproductive, because you can absorb a person's 3-month journey in 12 minutes.
Yeah.
And that skews things so badly.
I guess I haven't really considered that. We've talked about social media being a highlight reel, but this is perhaps even more damaging. You are truly distilling a very long process into something very short. And I always dislike it when like really complicated engineering videos cut out all the interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff Made Here is probably the worst offender of this, because he cuts out. He does some incredible things, and he cuts it out because no one would understand it. The man is on another level. It's mind-boggling what he does, but no one would get it. No one would get it. And really, you're not there to be. You're not there to be informed. You're there to be entertained. What is that? The pie rule? What's the purpose of your writing? Is it to persuade someone? Is it to inform someone? Or is it to entertain them? And it can be a mixture of all three. But when it comes to ad revenue, you want to entertain. The point of the matter is it's so infuriating. And I wonder if people who have gone through a similar transformation feel similarly about the videos that you're talking about, because I have a vague grasp of what Shane has gone through in all of those videos. The months it takes to get a basketball hoop to fly through space tracking a ball, right? Yeah. I understand at a vague level what he's cutting out, but I don't understand at any level what fitness gurus are cutting out of their videos. Someone who has gone through that transformation does, and I bet you they get a similar amount of disappointed in that editing choice, even though it is probably the correct editing choice in terms of views and content.
Yeah, well, like you said, it's a lot of it comes down to they want to entertain, and unfortunately, the daily changes and the daily work and the daily grind, no one really wants to see that, and there's no clean way to film any of that. That's the kind of stuff that people would stream, but even then, you're not going to keep people there very long.
Exactly. And I think in the case of I know video game grinding is somewhat popular. Yes. It's not the most popular, but it's somewhat popular. Usually when it comes to speedruns. The two that immediately come to mind, Dark Viper AU does GTA 5 speedruns, and Virtual does Trackmania. He races Trackmania, and he will grind for world records occasionally. And that can be entertaining to watch, because you're watching someone who is the best at what they do, within a margin of error. Anyone can do burpees on their living room floor, so that isn't something that you would probably do well with streaming. You can stream it, but I'll bet you no one would watch it, right? That's So you're really cutting out the boring parts in terms of time scale, and it's impossible to convey that. It is impossible. I'm of the opinion that even some of the best editors in the world could not convey that sort of. You have to use a montage.
Yeah.
And that ruins time scales 100% of the time.
Yeah, because the only reason someone, I think, would stream themselves working out, and they're not a professional by any means, is strictly for the accountability part. And even then, there may not even be an accountability part beyond the self. It's like, no one's going to watch it, but you know that if someone realizes you didn't do the thing that day, there's an avenue to call you out, and you don't want that.
That's true. It kind of is a big motivator, accountability. Back in September 2020, a friend and I did, or I always try to do this couch to 5K thing.
Oh yeah.
I got further than I thought I would, and then it got cold because it was like late. Yeah. It was like into November. I'm like, I'm not going to run anymore. But it got pretty far, and also for some reason my right leg just started hurting. But like it was. But just having, because there's an app that tracks the runs. I forget what it's called. It's called Strava, I think, maybe Strava, Stuva. I don't know, but it's I don't think I even have it installed anymore. But like having accountability is, it's a huge motivator, and even if you're screaming out into the void, which is a fascinating thing to think about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I've tried apps before, and when it came to like the dedication to do something active, I would just lie and just either lie or not update the app and just quit. Mm-hmm. It didn't work, and I think in some cases you just kind of have to wait for yourself to catch up. Sure. Like I've tried to quit drinking like diet sodas, and that's hard. And if I set out to do it and I'm like, all right, we're not doing it anymore, that's hard. It's so hard. But replacing things is way easier. So we started getting like sparkling water instead, and that's been helpful because I just kind of decided I didn't want it anymore. And that doesn't work in everything. But I think more than ever, I appreciate more you have to let people come around to it. If they drag their feet, they're never going to commit.
Have you considered investing in a soda stream?
No. Is that worth it?
I don't know. I don't know how to use my soda stream well, and it's gotten to the point where I just don't use it. I got it for free from a friend. I just needed to buy the gas.
That's the best way to get something.
Yeah, and it's good, but no matter what I do, it vomits out the front because it acts like it's overfilled, and it's not overfilled. Yeah. The wisdom is that you have to chill everything before you carbonate it, which is nuts. Oh. I guess something about, it's PV equals NRT.
Sure.
Right. Lower temperature implies lower volume. Anyway.
Yeah.
But it's okay. The things it makes taste fine. I mean, some of the I got the grapefruit bubbly syrup.
Oh yeah.
You have to be real sparing with that. That is some strong stuff. Fun fact: the way you buy it in Target, it tells you that it costs $141 per liter. Yeah, and I think Target does it. Target, it's not a unit. I'm never going to buy 100 batteries ever in my life, even of AAA's, and they're small, right? So I don't know why they do it that way. I have no idea, but.
You ever see corroded battery acid?
Oh yes, I have.
I love that stuff. It's like forbidden sand. I don't know what we had like a bunch of AAA batteries,
Mm-hmm.
and we were going through them because we were having issues with our remote. And I would just because I'm like, it has to burn, right? But then I rub my fingers all over it and it doesn't burn. So I'm just like, you know what?
Well, it's battery acid, Lauren. It's
Forbidden pop rocks.
yeah. I have a. Well, actually, I have it over here. I have this Apple Magic Mouse that had two. I think it's AA batteries in it, and it's hard to see. Maybe this will talk. I cleaned it very well. It had some really bad corrosion. You can see it on the plate how bad it is.
Ooh.
You can also see that it ate a hole through it.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's thin anodized aluminum, but
I mean, yeah.
So you know.
So you don't encounter that.
Yeah, you don't know. You know. So when you say forbidden pop rock, just know it ate through a mouse.
That's why it's forbidden.
It's forbidden.
There's so many substances, and we've talked about this before, but there's so many substances that I'm like, it's so cursed, but I get it. I get the impulse to like touch it,
Yeah,
and deal with stuff.
right here actually, I have a spicy pillow. A spicy marshmallow, spicy pillow. I think spicy pillow is the parlance. Ooh, yeah, this could. Actually, it's not as spicy as it used to be, but yeah, this could just detonate. I don't know.
I have been experiencing just some very like vicarious pleasure in watching things explode. I was watching it just random like instant regret compilations, and one of them someone hit their phone with a hammer and they punctured the battery and it exploded, and that felt real good.
Yeah, that will. Yeah, that's horrible. Yeah. Yes. Lithium batteries are pretty dangerous.
And it's a weird thing, but I'm like, oh, this is what a fully developed brain feels like, to see someone else do something, to derive the pleasure from it, and to know I never have to do that myself.
Yeah, someone else was stupid for you. Yeah.
Yeah. And like actually feeling the like social inhibitors come down. I'm like, don't be like that.
No.
Don't do that.
You're better than that. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't be like that. And I'm like, wow. This is what being an adult feels like.
Incredible.
It's wild.
Yeah. Yeah. It's well, I mean, hey, you have the discipline to do it. You have or the discipline not to do it. You have that I mean, it's just another form of discipline, at least as we defined it. You know that something bad will happen to you, so you have the discipline to not follow through with that, even though it sure does look like fun.
Yep. Yeah. I run into that with Reddit, where I'm like, I know how it makes me feel to go on r/popular, but sometimes I still do it. I don't like who I am after I'm done reading r/popular, but let's just see what people are talking about. And it's always a mistake.
100%. Every time.
It's always a mistake.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't use Reddit is, I think, the podcast's public opinion. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. There's so many better websites.
Not worth it. So many better websites.
Just go to google.com, smash your face into the keyboard, press enter, and whatever you find is going to be infinitely better.
I think those are chances worth taking.
Yes. Yeah. Just anything other than Reddit, really.
Yeah.
Really, yeah.
Because the worst rabbit holes and just the worst people, it's all collected to just manufacture rage. And I hated that I was getting into the habit of not reading articles, just reading the headlines and reading the opinions of a bunch of other people like me who also didn't read the article and just read the headlines. I'm like, none of us is learning.
Yeah.
What are we doing? And the level of schadenfreude and just meanness that's on that site is horrible.
Oh, yeah.
The number of people who advocate for killing people is so high. Yeah, like public freak out, idiots in cars. They're always like, I would have run them over. I'm like, you wouldn't have.
No, you definitely not.
Say that you wouldn't have run them over. Why are you saying that you would?
Yeah, that's so yeah, just don't do it. Say no to Reddit. Say maybe to drugs. Say no to Reddit. Look, if someone's offering you drugs for free for free. This is what DARE doesn't teach you. This is what DARE doesn't want you to know. The drug market's lucrative. If someone is offering you drugs for free, first off, they don't tell kids why they're doing that. I don't think they ever taught you why they were doing that. They want to get you hooked so you go back to buy more.
Oh, yeah.
Just become the distributor.
Oh, yeah.
You are going to make so much money.
Yeah. It's always the dealers and the people who buy who end up in, like, dangerous situations.
Yeah.
Dealers don't.
Mm-hmm.
And distributors, they don't.
Yeah.
Because they're above it, they're beyond it.
Exactly. And you're getting drugs for free. You know how hard it is to make drugs, to smuggle them in? It's insane. And they're expensive for a reason. And they're giving it to you for free. Kids, make a smart business choice. Don't do the drugs, but take them.
Take them, distribute them.
Yeah, someone will be willing to pay top dollar. And you can even undercut the person that you got them from because you got them for free. It's nothing but margin. Anyway.
Yeah, that's how business works. Yeah, that's the thing that always got me, like, as I got older and looked back on things like DARE, I'm like, where are these drugs coming from? In my 25 years of life, I'm sure I have been at parties where there were drugs somewhere. Like, if we're cutting alcohol out of the equation, because no one includes alcohol in that equation. But I'm still not sure. I don't know that I was ever at a party that had weed or cocaine. I don't think I ever was. If there were, it was never offered to me, and maybe it's just because I give off those vibes, and that's fine.
Yeah, exactly the same. I know for a fact that someone snorted Xanax at one of the few high school parties I went to. No one ever offered me any. I was like, wow, okay, I see where I stand. Yeah. All right, okay.
It is easy to walk the straight and narrow when you don't know another path exists. Like, I am not a better person having never been offered drugs and choosing never to do drugs than someone who has had the offer and refused.
Exactly.
And I think there's a whole philosophy around that of it is not noble if there isn't the opportunity to cause harm.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
Yeah. Or, like, it's easy to cast judgment on someone who's in a situation that you'll never see.
Yeah.
Like, like Jeanette McCurdy, for example, her book came out, and it's titled "I'm Glad My Mom Died," and everyone's like, "How could you say that?" It's like, well, read the book.
She's been saying it for years.
Find out. Yeah.
It used to be a one-woman show, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, she's been saying it for years, and I'm glad her mom died too.
It just sounded horrible.
Yeah.
And it's a great title. Some things come down to marketing, and it's a great title. It's a great cover. The typeface is hilarious. And yeah, sometimes it's also not glee, but just relief. And if I were suddenly out from under that kind of thumb, you'd feel pretty good. And I think the people who are like, well, that's terrible, that was your mom. It's like, you were never 11 years old being the sole breadwinner of your family.
Oh, yeah, I can't even imagine.
Yeah. Just awful.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, child acting should be illegal.
Yeah, they're also not very good at it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's at the very least offensive to filmmakers.
There has only ever been one good child actor.
Who's
and it's
that?
the kid at the beginning of Pirates of the Caribbean, when the pirates are ransacking Port Royal, and it's just like a 3-year-old kid, and he just lets out one scream for his mom. That's the peak of child acting.
There you go.
That's it.
Do you think that they are better at voice acting, or do you think they should just not?
Voice acting I could see as being okay just because there's not the image pressure, or maybe there still is to a degree because you still have to take headshots, I guess. But I feel like that would have to be a little bit better. There's still creeps like John Lasseter in animation, but they're not setting you up for, weirdly close-up shots of your feet in animation, so Might be a little better.
Yikes. That's unfortunate. Is that a direct reference to something?
Oh, foot fetish stuff?
No, just like, I mean, sure. Quentin Tarantino.
Is the way Dan Schneider ran Nickelodeon.
Oh yeah,
There's a weird number of foot stuff in Nickelodeon properties.
I never understood the foot fetish. Never got it.
No.
Like they're fine, but like what's erotic about feet? I don't get it.
Sure. Yeah. Like, I even understand to a degree, like, stepping on things in high heels, because there's a presentation to it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just the foot itself, I'm like, I don't know.
But kneecaps, oh boy, don't get me started. Yeah, no, it's fascinating, and it's a common one too, isn't it?
I don't know.
It seems like it's more common, or maybe it's just more made fun of.
It is easy to make fun of, yeah. And I think just because pictures of feet are innocuous, but there are other fetishes people could make fun of, that it gets uncomfortable real fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think you could make jokes about, like, feederism and stuff before it just got weird.
Yeah.
But, like, foot stuff, I think it's kind of like furries. At this point, those kinds of people just kind of take it in stride. They understand how it sounds to other people. They're like, whatever. I've got my 6-figure job that allows me to do commissions of my favorite thing. So
they make so much money.
They do.
Commission artists? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wish I knew how to draw.
Say, like, out of morbid curiosity, I'll sometimes just tiptoe through DeviantArt just to, like, see what's there. And I'm like, man, there's so much money in this.
Mm-hmm.
And there's written stuff, too, which does occasionally, I'm like, mm-hmm.
You can do it. You can do it.
You can do it. But yeah, it's, like, more power to them. But, man, there's so much money floating around for this. It's incredible.
But where does it all come from?
They gotta be all, like, software developers.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. It's not uncommon in the field. Yeah.
Because I'm like thinking about the things that would pay enough but would still leave them enough free time to pursue this as a hobby, because that kind of rules out, like, the high-powered lawyers and high-powered doctors.
Imagine hiring a furry lawyer. Oh my. I'm sure that's got to exist.
It has to, yeah.
If I type that into Google right now, what do you think will come up? Furry lawyer.
I'm gonna guess fan fiction about Phoenix Wright or Better Call Saul.
Boozy Barrister, Wikifur, the furry Wikipedia. Oh my. Here we go. We're going down this rabbit hole. Wikifur.com is in my history now. Boozy Barrister.
Is it spelled like Bearrister?
Barrister.
Oh, so like the actual way it's spelled. Okay.
Is an American civil litigation lawyer and blogger who curates the blog Lawyers and Liquor.
Okay.
Let's see, he wrote in April of 2017, Boozy Barrister wrote a blog post about the cease and desist letter sent by Kahuki to Deo Tasdevil associated with the cancellation of the Rocky Mountain Fur Con 2017, criticizing the legal viability of the letter and linking several aspects of it to the sovereign citizen movement. Not a furry himself at the time, Boozy watched a documentary entitled Fursonas before writing the post and spoke with furry fan and fellow lawyer Nanook Burr, who invited Boozy to attend a furry convention, to which Boozy said he would be a badger.
Okay, good choice.
He's been going to furry cons for a good long time.
Good for him.
Yeah, well, okay, so there's at least 2.
At least 2. You know, that's slightly more than I was expecting, especially when it's about being high profile. There are definitely some that there are lawyers that have high profiles but aren't necessarily known for being, you know, furries. It took me way too long to realize that the name was more about like the drinking, which like I can get behind, but the barrister was like, oh, that's clever, he's got like he specifically does furry law. Which
furry law? Wait a minute. What is furry law? Isn't that just the law?
I would assume so. There is some weird litigation specifically surrounding furries sometimes.
Like what?
I want to say there was some litigation surrounding, I think it was, not Animaniacs. Tiny Toons Adventures? I think there was something about that. They tried to spin that a guy who happened to be a furry was like a stalker of one of the voice actors of the show, and he wasn't. That was a whole thing. Very interesting rabbit hole.
Maybe we don't say the word rabbit hole here.
No.
Well, have you seen Zootopia? Look, if they didn't want that kind of reaction, they wouldn't have made Judy so fuckable. All right. Someone had to say it.
Yeah. It was the summer before, like, you know, of the police and all that, so it made sense. No, because, yeah, we all watched Zootopia, and then we all read that really bizarre pro-life Zootopia comic, which was a whole saga in of itself. I love that comic. I love listening to dramatic readings of it. It's so well drawn.
The Zootopia pro-life comic.
Yes. Nick and Judy are together, and because she's a driven career woman, she has an abortion. Because this was pre-2022, and Nick is horrified because he's like, it's my baby too, and she's like, no, it's not, and then she slaps him and she leaves. I believe then she gets into a lesbian relationship. Yeah.
First off, someone put a lot of effort into this.
It looks good. It's very well drawn, and the person clearly cares very deeply about it, but man.
Okay, I'm seeing where this is going. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, there it is. Come on, camera. Yep. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Please tell me I heard wrong. Why Judy Rye? Okay, hang on.
Because she wants to be the chief of police.
Spoiler alert. We're getting there. 10 more panels. Oh my God! Look at this. Paragraphs and speech bubbles. Oh Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
I am successful in my career more than they get confident in their own ability. Blah blah blah. Okay. Oh my God. You know who I am. You know what I am. You know what's at stake. Oh my God. Oh my God. Physical violence.
Mm-hmm. So much physical violence. Which, like, I know they're anthropomorphized animals, but I don't know how far that whole animal thing goes, because, like, animals will eat their young.
Yeah.
This isn't, like... And I'm pretty sure the gestation period is it gestation? I don't know. I'm pretty sure, like, the period through which, like, rabbit young and maybe rabbit fox hybrid young are grown, it can't be that long.
Oh my God.
So I'm not saying Judy's forced to carry these rabbit fox hybrid children, but, like, if anything, Nick is gonna end up eating them.
Yeah. Wow, this is... Wow, look at those scratch marks on his face. Wow. Jesus. Wow, that was... Okay, first off, that was a quicker read than I thought it was going to be. But, like...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, granted, I only skimmed it, but that was... I didn't know that existed. That's,
Involved.
Yeah.
There are so many weird things, because... Things like that also make me think of this lawsuit. Maybe you've heard of it, all about alpha, beta, omega fiction, which I only bring this up because I believe it's popular within furry fan fiction and furry fiction, just because it Alpha, Beta, Omega, wolf stuff. Um, but basically, this woman tried to claim that she invented heterosexual ABO fiction and sued people to take it to court. It was a whole thing.
Okay.
Lindsay Ellis has 2 videos on it, because it's and those videos open with passages being read from some of these books, and I understand that smut does it for some people, but I am not the right person for it. Maybe it's just because I'm not into ABO, but it sounds so awkward all the time.
Yeah, the internet's a rich tapestry. It doesn't take every kind, but it takes a lot of them. It's God, there's just so much that just exists.
Mm-hmm.
So many niche subcultures, fascinating niche subcultures that are just,
Mm-hmm.
Well, takes most kinds, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, because I read a smut book that I didn't realize was a smut book, and I don't get the appeal. Because so much of it, it's hard to make certain things just sound appealing, and maybe it's just the mental picture is more important than what the words actually say.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I mean, the golden rule in cinema, show don't tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a huge market for it, though. And,
Oh, it's massive. And sometimes
tap into the market. Sometimes it's furry. Sometimes it's furry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People make good money, but it's another one of the genres where it's hard to set yourself apart, because it works in your favor that people who enjoy those kinds of books are willing to read those kinds of books over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But romance and erotica are so full to bursting, no pun intended, with just so many different kinds of books and genres and archetypes and shattering. And
well, that's why the market exists, to customize. Remember, these people aren't writing stories for everyone. They're writing stories for you. They're writing it to specification. Same way artist commissions work. Yep. They're not drawing your persona, they're writing it. It's fan fiction.
Yeah.
But you're the fan. And the fiction.
Oh no. 'Cause yeah, it's stuff like Is it Born to be Bound? Is that the book? That's the big one.
I'll find it on Google. Born to be Bound.
It's, I think, by Cassandra Cain.
Addison Cain.
Addison Cain, that's her name. Yeah, she's the one who tried to sue and claim she invented straight ABO. And I believe it's just fan fiction about the character Bane from Batman.
Born to be Broken, The Golden Line, Reborn, Stolen, Corrupted. Born to be Bound.
They all have those titles.
Swallow It Down.
It's also sinister. Wait, Swallow It Down, what?
That's what one of them's called.
Okay.
What's it about? Swallow It... Goodreads.com. I'll be the judge of that. I've seen the way he looks at me. I don't want to rate it. Go away. The captain, the unquestioned leader of the ship. A ship I wish to be free of. A man I want to be as far away from as my legs can carry me. The society he's designed. The rules. The endless battle of wills. Yes, I've seen the way he looks at me. I felt his fingertips brush my skin, heard his laugh, experienced his smile. And that's only for me and only in secret, and I know what he wants. He told me himself that everyone has to pay, that all who survived the fall of civilization were culpable. That's how he justifies the decisions he's made, the necessary evils he allows to take place on his ship, all in the name of a greater good. And that's why I resist the starved way his gaze drinks me down. Why I can't be had at any price. Swallow it down as an angst-ridden enemies-to-lovers romance, boasting a strong female lead and a swoon-worthy hero. The standalone features an HEA that will keep you turning the page all night. What is an HEA? God damn it, another Google search I'm ashamed of.
I don't know. What is an HEA? Oh, Happily Ever After.
Oh, okay, it's far more tame than I expected it.
Or the Higher Education Act of 1965.
Somehow I don't think it means that one.
I don't know. It's part of President Johnson's domestic agenda, so maybe it is.
Yeah, nothing's more erotic than President Lyndon B. Johnson.
I mean, this is a president who regularly swung his dick out for no
Oh, yeah,
reason.
that's right. He's the one with the huge cock, yeah.
Yeah, which may have just been proportional. The man was 6'4". The fact that I know about 3 presidents' dicks is 3 presidents too many.
Which presidents do you know about?
The former, because that had to be a whole thing. Apparently it looked like Toad from Mario. Johnson, because he called it Jumbo and regularly whipped it out. And Warren G. Harding, because he named his dick Gerald, I believe, and regularly wrote erotic letters to his lover about how much Gerald wanted to see her again.
That's such a missed opportunity. His name was Harding.
I know!
His name was Johnson!
Yes!
What?
We had a whole president called Tricky Dick, and we don't know anything about it. American history is so wrong because we learn the wrong things.
Do you think this is in the National Archives? Do you think there is a naked portrait of every president in the National Archives? Do you think
there's gotta be
meticulous measurements of every part of their body? Do you think that the Queen of England has a gynecologist? There was an SNL sketch about this.
There was a whole, yeah.
And I can't stop thinking about it. She must, right? She must.
Yeah.
What a job.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to be stressful. The Kingmaker. This is a good sketch.
It's just the fact that we know about 3 presidents' dicks. There has to be one who has the best.
That is true. I'm pretty sure that's a theorem in calculus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's probably, if I had to guess, I would say we're on good authority to say Teddy Roosevelt had the best.
Fascinating.
That's my guess. And it could just be that there's some presidents whose dicks I don't wish to contemplate.
What, you don't want to think about Andrew Jackson's Johnson?
Okay, so Andrew Jackson's nickname was Old Hickory, and that has to go to something.
Oh, I'm sure it did.
It definitely did. Trump aside, James Buchanan's has probably got to be bad. If you let the Civil War happen, I think that's just an automatic boner killer, no matter what.
Okay, let's say you free the slaves. What's Lincoln's dick like? Just ballpark. He was a tall man.
Exactly, as tall as Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to even think of how. I don't know how long things are. Because I'm thinking, like, are we talking erect, or are we talking just
Well, it's definitely
as is?
there are definitely two separate measurements you have to take into consideration, but I'm pretty sure the correct answer is erect here.
Ah.
Yeah.
4 score and 7 inches.
Poor Mary Todd. That's
That was not a lot of woman.
no.
She was, I think, like 4'10" or something. So they really had the perfect internet proportion of like, won't date a man under 6 feet. No, I think it's probably 6 inches.
Probably hit it in his stovepipe hat.
Oh, at least once.
4 score and 7 inches. That's frightening. That's
Isn't it? It's like that. It's like the joke about having 3 legs.
yep.
Like, we. The whole aesthetic of dicks is just so fascinating. We started watching a show called Minx, which is all about like trying to essentially start a Playboy-esque women magazine, but specifically for women, and it isn't just Playgirl. And so like the pilot, before I saw the pilot, I could count on 2 hands the number of dicks I had seen. After that episode, I would need like 4 more hands. Because they need a cover bottle, and so it was just dick after dick after dick after dick.
It's another rich tapestry.
Yeah, because it demystified it all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh,
Oh.
ah,
Ah.
I didn't know they could do that. It's just things like that.
Oh yeah. Non-erect, absolutely indestructible. Absolutely, you could do anything to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fold it in half. There's a show in Las Vegas that does penis origami. I'm not making this up. It's a show. It's a show.
Yeah.
They do. There's the 2 I was able to find on the internet were the hamburger and the Eiffel Tower.
Well, Eiffel Tower is a sex position, isn't it?
Yeah, it's it's where you spit roast a lady and high five, but
Yeah.
but no, it's I'll just let you look it up. I'll let you look it up. It's the whole concept of penis origami. You can go to Las Vegas and see a show about it. It's I was on the fence. I'm like, I could see this. I could know what this is. You know? Went to saw Piff the Magic Dragon instead, but it's
Yeah. I distinctly remember being aware that, like, you could do things to penises after watching The Young Victoria and naively wanting to look up what the real Prince Albert looked like.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned a thing that day, that there were 2 kinds of Prince Alberts, and one of them involved penises.
Oh. Well, glad you came to that realization.
Yeah. And then I used to follow a Facebook group that was all about like the Third Amendment, because it was funny to support the Third Amendment. And like twice, just literal porn was dumped into it. And the whole time I just kept staring at it like, wait, what am I? Oh. Well, that's a soldier occupying a house, and this is not what this group is about. That soldier needs to go.
I had to look up what the Third Amendment was because I forgot. I always thought that was the Fourth.
No, that is
What's the
about
fourth one?
search and seizure.
That's right. They're very similar in my brain. So I'm like, oh, they must both be the fourth. Nah, just one of them's the fourth, the other's the third.
No. Yeah. Fourth Amendment is also important, but no one talks about it.
You can't really make a Rule 34 about that. Oh, no, you can. Search and seizure, yep.
Oh, you definitely
Oh,
can.
you definitely can. Yeah, my name's Osmond. I've been through the TSA. Anyway.
Just the worst.
Some people like to get searched and seized. I don't know what to tell.
Yeah. There are people who are into that, who like to be spread and bred, and it's.
I don't think the TSA is doing that. What happens if you make more than 3 ounces of liquid or gel while on the plane?
Immediate ejection.
Yeah, that would be... anyway.
Is it 3 ounces?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, maybe it is.
Because they don't make explosives that are less than 3 ounces. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not yet.
No, of course not. Why would science be working on that? It's certainly not something the military is looking at.
No. Military looks at all kinds of things.
But not like small explosives. No. Undetectable explosives? Definitely not something they're into.
Implantable?
No.
Mark of the Beast? No.
Nah.
No. We got time for that.
No, of course not.
Yeah. The government does work on some bonkers stuff, but it's one of those things where it's like we can't be grossly incompetent and incredibly nefarious at the same time.
Mm-hmm. That's very true. Yeah.
And I know how hard I work at my job. And sure, there are jobs where people should work a little bit harder than I do. But, like, there's no way I could keep any kind of major conspiracy quiet for any length of time.
No. People are leaky.
Oh, yeah, so leaky. And their phones do, like, 80% of that leaking.
Yeah.
On their own.
They're very good at leaking.
Mm-hmm. So good at leaking.
Yeah. It's a very precarious position the intelligence community has placed itself in, but I am by no means an expert.
Yeah, and I don't think I would want to be. Like, there's some things where I am just okay not knowing. And there are definitely things that I'm like, if I learn even just a little bit more about this, it's going to ruin my life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe some things should stay classified. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Keep that to yourself.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Now, what people were doing on the grassy knoll in 1963, maybe we can learn more about that. But anything else, we don't need to know.
Yeah.
We don't want to know.
Look, as a society, I don't think we're quite ready to know if aliens are real or not.
No.
I don't think we're quite there yet as a people.
No. And, like, if they were, like, what would that change day to day? We'd still have to go to work tomorrow.
Yeah,
and we'd all start our stand-up meetings with, like, wow, aliens, right? Okay, so this project, we're going to be working on these deliverables. And it's like, cool, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Somehow capitalism will look past that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe we could take a day. Just be like, aliens, they've been declassified. It's we've had a couple here. Yeah.
Sit in the sad closet, contemplate your new place in the universe, and get back to work.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Boss makes $1, I make $0.10. I contemplate extraterrestrial life on company time.
Yeah.
We've rewatched Men in Black recently, and there's a line about how, like, five. No. 2,000 years ago, they knew the Earth was the center of the universe. 500 years ago, they knew the Earth was flat. Yesterday, you knew that you were alone in the universe. What will you know tomorrow? And that line just messes me up every time.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, no, I don't want to know anymore. It's too much. And
you can't handle the truth.
I can't, Jack Nicholson. I cannot handle the truth. There's a reason we're not listening anymore.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think anyone would change if we found aliens. No, Space Force would get a lot of money.
Oh yeah, Space Force would stop being a hilarious joke. Start being like, oh yeah, that's why we have Space Force.
That threat. Yeah.
I think the number of Starship Trooper memes would increase even more than they exist in their current bandwidth.
Yeah.
And I think the Area 51 memes would come back.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Naruto running and clapping alien cheeks. That becomes much more viable.
Clapping alien cheeks. I forgot about that one.
16 of them.
Ooh, that's something I need to commission an artist for.
And you have the money to commission those artists with the money from tonight's sponsor.
Oh boy, do I. Yes. Well, very glad you brought up. This episode of Steaming Pile is brought to you by Pianos. And they asked me to say this in their native tongue, so here we go. Pianos. Everyone knows who we are, but nobody really understands the plight of a piano. We're percussion instruments, so day in and day out we get played ruthlessly, banged to oblivion and backed by people trying to learn heart and soul. So please, we ask of you, stop the violence. That's for violins. This message brought to you by Pianos.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't know pianos sounded like that.
Oh yeah, no, they speak their own language. It's
Paul McCartney and Stevie Wonder were right. It's just Ebony and Ivory.
There you go.
Very, very generous of Pianos.
Thank you, Pianos.
Thank you, Pianos. Thank you for sponsoring tonight's episode. This has been Steaming Pile with Lauren and Tucker. I've been Lauren.
And I have been Tucker.
And we will see you all next time.